What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be giving my review score predictions for Star Wars Squadrons. So, a couple things, and I know if you guys are coming off the Crash video, you're going to say, Alex, you must be on repeat. I don't write a script. I don't have anything. I just talk literally off the top of my head. But there are a couple things we need to talk about whenever we talk about these review score videos, okay? Number one, this is a chance for me to give kind of my final impressions of a game, for me to talk about how I feel about it, how I think the world kind of feels about it. Goes over, what I think, reviewers are going to say, what the talking points are going to be of the game, but also to very much keep in mind, me personally, I do not go based off review scores. I do not buy games or watch movies or anything like that based off review scores. I know people do. That's ultimately, I think, why I make these videos. I also make them just because they're a lot of fun. So don't take it too seriously. Don't say, my God, he just really is like harping on the review score. Ultimately, like, I'm getting this game, review scores aren't going to stop me, and that's kind of the case for any game. Again, I don't make the decision based off that. Final things, if you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, red subscribe button right underneath the video. A lot of people that watch my videos aren't subscribed, so if you guys aren't, click that button. If you find out that you hate my opinions later, totally cool. You can always unsubscribe. Hit the bell icon while you're at it. And also, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, I have a lot of fun over there. I know Twitter is often a toxic place for a lot of people. I kind of thrive in it. But if you guys aren't following me there, Podcast Now 15 is my username. I tend to interact with a lot of different people over there as well. Give suggestions or take suggestions, all that kind of stuff. Okay? Now that the ads are out of the way, let's talk about this. So, again, coming off the Crash video, this game, because I mentioned it in the Crash video, you guys haven't checked that out. It came out earlier today. This game, I think, has a more wild swing of reviews. So I always give myself 4 points. So like an 8.3 to an 8.6 is 4 points to go off of. I always give myself a range, okay, and when I give a review score. Star Wars Squadrons, I'm going to give the review score, but I'm also going to talk about, what could be the problems, what could be the strengths, stuff like that. I think with Star Wars Squadrons, it's a game, unlike Crash, which I think is a more safe game where you kind of just go in expecting it to probably be at least pretty darn good. Star Wars Squadrons is, well, it could be really, really good. It could be really, really bad. It could also be a game just simply for specific people. And if we've learned anything from the gaming industry, and by the way, because this happens all the time in reviews generally, is there can be a wide swing. Somebody could give a game a 9. I've seen games get 10s, perfect scores. I know game sites will never say 10 out of 10 is a perfect score. It's like a masterpiece, right? It's just like very well done. But you'll see 10s, and then maybe you'll see like 6s. There's always kind of a swing, because obviously everybody's an individual, and a game is going to speak to one person differently than it speaks to another. So, I mean, I get that, and that's something obviously to keep in mind. But a game like this, or a game, I don't know, any kind of game like this where it is going to, I think Death Stranding may have been a good example, although obviously very, very different from this. But you're going to have people that say, you know what? This is exactly what I want. Or they're going to say, you know what? I didn't know I wanted a game like this, but now, like now we have it. Where this is a game that could be very difficult, but in like good ways, where it's like not difficult, maybe challenging is a better word, right? Where there's a hard kind of entry into this game, but there's a learning curve, and once you get through it, you can actually be extremely, extremely good at this game. There could be people that are just super into that, and there could also be people that say, you know what, flat out, the game's not fun, or, things like that. So there's obviously the opinion part of it, and that's what this is. So you're going to have people that are not Star Wars fans that are either going to, so you have people that are Star Wars fans and not. Okay, we have two groups. In the not fans, for any Star Wars game, they're either going to do it or not, okay? For Star Wars Squadrons, they're either going to do it because they're like, flying game, that's kind of different. Like we're in space, we're fighting things. Like, that's different. That's not what I would expect. I would give it a try. Or you're going to have people that say, that's just not a kind of game for me, and I'm not a Star Wars fan. I can't get behind it. Now, the interesting thing with Star Wars Squadrons, I've even seen from Star Wars fans, is it's not the Star Wars game they want. And I'm not saying I don't speak for everybody. I'm not saying everybody says this. Like, for me personally, I'm fine with this. I mean, Jedi Fallen Order was amazing. Battlefront 2 was very, very solid. Like, core gameplay was very, very good. So we have different Star Wars, and we, by the way, throughout time, we've had dozens and dozens and dozens of different Star Wars games for all different people. For me, I'm completely cool with this game existing. It's not up my alley. This is not a game that I'm like for sure going in saying like, oh, I'm going to love this game. I just know I'm going to love it. No, it may be too difficult for me. It may just not be fun. And that's the thing. So when we get into the game, okay, when we actually, enter the game, what are going to be some of the talking points of reviewers? What could be some issues with this game? I think the thing that could definitely make this game go back and forth is not the EA factor, if you want to call it an EA factor, but I think the fact of the matter is we still don't, we know the different modes. We know there are different modes. We know we're not doing literally the exact same thing every time, but saying that and even showing it in your small little trailers is different than when people jump in. Now, I know people did get to play this game early, and they said, hey, it actually is very, very good. It's very sophisticated. It's very difficult. There's a very steep learning curve to this game. Again, that's going to work with a lot of people. It's also not going to work with a lot of people. I think the thing that'll make or break this game, because when you're reviewing something, by the way, I feel like you should kind of take that into account where it's like, well, even if I hated it or I was no good at it, I can see how others can actually be amazing at it, and that could actually lead to a really cool experience. So you have to kind of melt all that stuff away and look at it and say, okay, well, what's the core of this game? Well, is it fun? Is there enough stuff to do? Is there enough going on in the world? So one of the things I criticized this game on early on was a couple things. One, I was very worried about the variety of what exactly the objectives and what exactly the tasks and what we're going to be able to do while flying. I was very worried about that. Another thing was maybe if it was taking a step back from Battlefront 2, where it's like they populate with AI and they make the battles seem bigger than what they are. Now, they do that a little bit in Squadrons, but not as much. Not as much. It's mainly focused on you guys flying, like you and your team. Smaller teams, by the way, all this stuff. To me, that could hurt it. I really do feel like that could hurt it. It could make it a more focused game, but that's what we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see if basically, here's my theory. I have a theory that they may have sacrificed that kind of stuff, okay, like populating it, giving you 1,000 different things to do, which, by the way, you don't have to do all of those things, but they sacrificed a lot of that to kind of zero in on the main gameplay focus of like you are in that cockpit and it is difficult. You have to think about all the different stuff you have to do. The ship will not fly itself, you know what I mean? Like you have to keep track of all these different things. You have to adjust your shields, all that stuff. It is a hard game to be able to fly. You're not going to get a lot of kills, right? You're probably going to get destroyed quite often. Okay, if they focused heavily on that, and by the way, that's fine, and that's what makes it a very, very different kind of game that I think is going to attract not just Star Wars fans, but people that aren't Star Wars fans. Maybe they like piloting games, and they're like, oh my god, like not only my pilot, like I'm not playing like like airplane simulator, but I'm literally in like Star Wars. It's also VR, which has value. I don't think it has a ton of value. In fact, and by the way, that's coming from a person who has PlayStation VR. I have it, and I may actually play it, but even from someone who owns it, I don't know how much value, at least right now, that gives the game. I don't know if it's, I think it will completely transform it, but not a lot of people have it. I don't think, and even if you do have it, it could be a must buy, but that's such a small group, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's something also to think about. I think the game, the more I talk about it, the more, by the way, I am kind of getting excited for it. It's just there are a lot of missteps this game can have. If there are issues at launch, if there's like multiplayer issues, if the story, we know the story is going to be short, but if it's like really short and it just flat out sucks, that could be an issue. Obviously, anytime you have EA, you have to think about cosmetics and microtransactions and stuff like that, which, again, they always kind of play safe, at least originally at launch, right? They always try and, like, cover their backs, at least now, but we got to see how that all plays out. And then, again, is there variety? For a game like this, again, it's got single player, but you're going to beat it probably in a day if you dedicate yourself. So then you go to a multiplayer, and it's kind of, it's not the same worry I had for, like, Avengers, but if there's not enough variety in the different things to do in the multiplayer, eventually it will get old. And the thing that's scary, the final thing I'll say before I get the review score, the final thing I'll say about this is what's scary about it is it's $40. And now that's not a bad thing. In fact, that's one of the reasons I'm buying it is it's a little bit cheaper. But if EA feels like this is just a quick cash grab, just get people in, get them to play it for a couple weeks, we sell it for Black Friday, we make some money, you will have the single player, you have the multiplayer will keep people probably playing it for around a month or so, and then we're just going to drop it, because I mean we don't need it. It's a small amount of money, we're doing it for the holiday season, for our stocks, for stuff like that. If that is the reason for this game existing, that is not a good thing whatsoever. And to be honest with you, I don't know if you can guarantee me that that's not going to happen. That's just something that we're going to have to see over time if that does happen. If it's something where they say, no, you know what, we want to put support into this game and have it last, then that's a good thing. And I don't know if you're going to necessarily even be able to know that day one when you get into it. Ultimately, for me, it is a game where I'm only going to be playing it for like a month or two. I don't expect to play this game into, mid-2021. You know what I mean? I don't think this game is going to be around for a year plus, stuff like that. This game is supposed to, make me have fun. It's going to get me through a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two. I'll play a lot of other games besides this game. So what I will say, and this is a little risky here, I'm going to give myself a 7.7 to an 8. I feel like it's going to be right there in the middle. I feel like people will probably really like it, probably give it in the high 8s, maybe even low 9s, is like, this is a game that pushes these kind of piloting games, but in a different direction. But I also think there could be just some fundamental major flaws, and there's also, again, there's the EA factor that we just flat out, I think, don't know until people get into this game, that I think could very much, I could see people giving it 4s, 5s, and 6s, okay? So I think if you kind of average that out, I think maybe you can get somewhere into, again, I'm going to say 7.7 to 8. I think anywhere in the 7s is probably an okay guess for a game like this, but it could surprise me. And again, by the way, I'm getting it day one, so I'm getting it whether it gets a 2 or whether it gets a 10. I'm buying it no matter what, okay? So let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think this game is going to get? What would your review score predictions be? As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And like I said, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, PodcastNow15 is my Twitter handle. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be doing Star Wars Squadrons videos this week. Next week, we'll be live streaming it. Loads of videos on this game and really all new games that come out, okay? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.